What's up, YouTube? It is Mr. Charlie Black coming at you again with another video. Today I will be talking about reparations and the Negro, this time regarding education and schooling. I have a lot to say on these topics, and sometimes I get a little flustered and carried away, so this may be a two-part video just depending on how much I touch in this time frame. But this is what I will say. I personally feel as if education was one of the things that was stripped away during slavery. So every person, every black person that was here that was a victim of slavery did not benefit from the education system. Now, once slaves were freed, you still had people that were denied the right to education. You still had people that were living under the separate but equal policy. And it really was not separate but equal. It wasn't until the 60s when more and more schools started to become integrated because of the busing systems and because of laws coming in order so that people were allowed civil rights, that more and more people had access and opportunity for that education. Now, fast forward into now, the busing programs have stopped. Segregation in schools is on the rise, and 1 out of 2 black men will drop out of high school without attaining their high school diploma. This bothers me because there are so many people out there with potential in these school systems. And because I think that a lot of black people occupy the inner city, the lower income school systems, they attend schools with less opportunity for technology, less opportunity for funding, less opportunity for school supplies. There needs to be a sea change in the way that we do things. Number one, it starts with the parents. And this is really, really hard because it's changing somebody's mentality, something they've been taught all their life. A lot of parents of black people are not getting involved enough in their child's lives. A lot of parents don't communicate with children in general. And I know that this is on a universal level, but I'm specifically speaking to black children. So, since this video is about reparations, don't get offended and don't say, well, everybody's like that. I know. But since I'm specifically speaking about black people, this is what's going on. Black people, we are not keeping in contact enough with our children's teachers. I know people who attend schools and don't know what a P, a T, or an A stands for. They go to school for those 7-8 hours. They might be involved in an extracurricular activity if there's enough funding, might not be, and they go straight home. The only time that a teacher is able to come into contact with the student's parents is if they're in trouble and they need disciplinary action and if they've sought out a counselor. This is for multiple reasons. It's because the students who are supposed to fill out the contact information cards for their teachers to use for future reference don't put the right information. The parents don't care to be involved in the child's life. The parents are out there living their home life. And it's unfortunate that you see a lot of this. But that means that teachers that go to these schools and that try to maintain a classroom are going to have to adjust the way that they do things. And the students are going to have to bear a lot more responsibility than the so-called average student would at any other suburban high school. This also has to do with how much teachers are paid. I don't think that teachers are paid enough as it is in the United States of America. The teachers are putting knowledge into these kids' heads. They're working as not only educators, but in a lot of instances as parents, because they perform disciplinary action for the child. They're working as many counselors because the counselors, a lot of at schools are few and far, and they don't have enough time to manage and balance every child. So a lot of children that go to school confide in their teachers. And for this reason, I think that since the job calls for more these days, there should be an adequate amount of pay for these jobs. And if you look at the inner city schools and know that they demand even more from a teacher, you should be paying these teachers a lot more than what they're getting paid now. A lot of these teachers are pulling money out of their pockets to fund these activities that are going on at these schools because they wouldn't get them otherwise, because the money that they do get in each of these districts goes for the upper end schools. which is fine. You want to propel people, but it's the people at the bottom that you really, really need to start focusing on. If a teacher has to go to school and wear a Teflon vest, if a teacher has to go to school in war mode every day just to teach a damn kid Spanish or math or science, then ladies and gentlemen, we need to be, making sure that these people are reimbursed for these actions that they take on daily. I know a lot of people out there who want to pursue teaching but do not want to do it in the inner city schools. And we miss out as black people on a lot of the talented teachers because they're choosing to go elsewhere, because they don't want to deal with the struggles and the daily functions of inner city schools. Security, definitely a must. We have to, I think, seriously set a tone in these schools where we're not so much focused on the tests as we are focused on the structure of each of these schools. There are counselors that don't give a shit. There are teachers that don't give a shit. There are principals who sit every day at their desk and do not give a shit. As long as they're getting paid, it's okay. The only time that they pretend to give a shit is when there's some kind of shooting or big fight and their faces on the news. There are people that are exhausted because the teachers, counselors, and administrators that do give a damn don't have enough funding, don't have enough support from the district to do anything about situations that are happening in their schools. So now when you go to school, you have to watch your back from all angles. As a student, as a teacher, as a counselor, as an administrator, as security there, watch your back from all angles because you're worried about what is to come. People that go to school take their school as a joke. They put graffiti on them because half of these schools that a lot of black people attend are old, have not been renovated, have not been provided the proper supplies, and that's the problem that I run into. Give people the same tools so that they are able to compete in the same environment. I'm not saying that just because a person teaches all black children or lower income children that they automatically deserve more money. I'm saying that based on, sitting back and observing the classroom, a teacher who could come to a brand new school with all the technology necessary, a teacher who could come to that school and be provided all the tools that they need necessary to teach these children is going to be successful. A teacher that has to go to an inner city, a lower income school, and walk into a classroom that is damaged, leaking, air conditioning, heating doesn't work. A classroom with a portable with desks that are so messed up. Nothing's brand new. Not enough books. Not enough time in the world. Working with people who have, psychological issues, who need certain disciplinary action that the teacher cannot perform. Putting I call them bad apples, but, the dysfunctional kids in the classroom because there's no place else for them, and having a teacher try to juggle that kid all the while focusing on everybody else when those other kids that actually want to learn are missing out on the opportunity to do so. There is so much that needs to be done in the form of education. It also has to lie with the communication between the parent and the teacher. When I was a child, if I messed up, even if I didn't mess up, my parents would never hesitate. They would never hesitate to go and call my teacher just to check up on me, or email my teacher just to check up on me. They initiated that communication so that the teacher had that, so that the teacher knew if I ever acted up in class, or did something, or did not do something, that teacher used my parents' phone number or my parents' email address as a vehicle for communication. And neither my parents or the teachers felt ashamed to do it. And because of that connection, it kept me on my toes. Because I knew that if that teacher went complaining to my parents about something that I did, and especially if I actually did it, then hey, when I come home, there's a new battle to fight. Now, the teacher and the parent is so far apart that the only time they meet is during a disciplinary conference. And now the teacher and the parent are enemies. So if the kid goes to school and is disruptive, exhibits disruptive behavior, that teacher, feels threatened, and the teacher wants to contact the parent, and the parent gets offended because there's no initial communication. Open houses are set for these children so that their parents could attend. These children don't tell their parents. These children throw away the notices. Once again, communication, and that's based on the parents. The parents want to get involved 3/4 of the semester through when the child is failing and grasping for dear life just to stay alive in that classroom. If you would have started initiating that communication from the beginning, we wouldn't have this issue. Some people don't have phones. Some people don't have email. And that's understandable. It's not as common as in the United States in 2009, but it is understandable for some people to go without because of the circumstances that they are in. But what's not understandable is how you can't drive, take the bus, walk to the school every now and then, just to see how the child is doing. And children that do have the opportunity to propel and succeed need to surround themselves with better people. This video is definitely going to be a part 2. Stay tuned. Reparations of the Negro, education, part 2 is coming up. Keep watching.